square.
Okay, so write 72 as a product of its prime factors. So step 1, just write 72, draw two branches, think of a number that will multiply with another number to get you to 72. So I'm just going to pick 36 times 2. When you get a prime number, circle it. And then 36 is not a prime number, so you need another two branches. And then 6 times 6 will make 36. They're not prime numbers either, so then you're going to do another two branches, and then you've got 2 times 3. They are both prime numbers as well, so circle them. And then 6 is not a prime number, so you've got two branches. You've got 2 times 3, circle them. And then if you list them, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3, and then you can simplify that to 2 cubed times 3 squared. Pause the video and have a go at this question. Okay, so write 40 as a product of its prime factors. So we're going to write down 40. We're going to think of two numbers that multiply to make 40. That can be 4 and 10. It doesn't matter which combination you use as long as you get to 40. 4 is not a prime number, so I'll draw two branches, and you've got 2 and 2. And circle them because they're prime numbers. And then you've got 2 times 5, circle those because they are prime numbers. And then we're going to write down the product of its prime factors by doing 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. And that can be simplified down to 2 cubed times 5. Okay, c equals 4d minus 7. And we need to find the value of c when d equals 6. So this is just a substitution question. So we've got c equals 4d minus 7. And remember, 4d means 4 times d. And we know that d is 6. So we're going to do 4 times 6 minus 7. 4 times 6 is 24 minus 7. 24 minus 7 is going to give us c equals 17. Okay, pause the video and give a go at your question. Okay, v equals u plus at, and that is v equals u plus at. We know u is 3, so we've got 3 plus a, which is 10, times t, which is 6. And we're going to follow BIDMAS, so we're going to do 10 times 6 first, which is just 60 underneath. And then we've got 3 plus 60, which will just give us 63 for v. Okay, so we've got a bag costs £20 and has now been increased by 10%. How much does it now cost? So we need 10% of £20. So that's just going to be, to find 10%, we just need to divide by 10. So 20 divided by 10 would give us £2. And we need to increase it. So you would just do £20 plus £2. It would be £22 after the 10% increase. Okay, pause the video and give your question a go. Okay, so your question, a bag costs £30 and has now been increased by 15%. How much does it now cost? So we want to find out 15% of £30, and this is without a calculator, remember. So 10%, we just divide 30 by 10. So 10% would be £3. Therefore, 5% is going to be half of that. So that would be £1.50. £1.50 plus £3 altogether is £4.50. So 15% is £4.50. And we're going to add £30 and £4.50. That now gives us a total of £34 and 50 pence for our new cost after the increase. Okay, shown is a right angle triangle. Work out the perimeter of the triangle. So we know this side is 3, we know this side is 4. So quite simply, we're going to use Pythagoras to figure out side C. So we've got a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 3 is going to be our A, 4 is going to be our B. So we've got 3 squared plus 4 squared. 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16. Add that together, you get 25. Square root 25, you've got 5. So C equals 5. Remember though, we are trying to find the perimeter, so we're going to add that up. So perimeter equals 3 plus 4 plus 5. That gives me a total of 12 centimeters for the perimeter. Pause the video and have a go at your question. Okay, so your question says the shape is made from 5 lines on a field. Work out the total length of all the lines. So you've got 8 and 6. Again, this is a Pythagoras question, which you're going to try to work out this long diagonal. So quite simply, you're just going to do 6 squared plus 8 squared equals the C squared. 6 squared is 36 plus 8 squared, which is 64. That gives you 100. Square root the 100, and that gives you 10. Actually, sorry, it's not 10 centimeters, it's 10 meters. So now you've got 10 meters for that diagonal. You know that this AD length is parallel to the BC length, so that's 6. You also know A to B is 8, and that's parallel to D to C, so that's 8 as well. And if you want to work out the total length, you've got 8 plus 8 plus 6 plus 6 plus 10, which if we add that up, you've got 10 plus 6, which is 16, plus another 6 is 22, plus 8 is 30, plus 8 is 38 meters in total. Okay, so we've been given an inequality question here where we need to find n as an integer and write down all the possible values of n. So here n is bigger than -1 and n is less than or equal to 3. So n to be bigger than -1 is going to be 0, 1, and then 2, and then it can be equal to or less than 3, so that would just be 0, 1, 2, and 3 for your answer. Okay, pause the video and give your question a go. Okay, so your question where y is an integer, write down all the possible values of y. So from the middle, if I read it, y is bigger than or equal to 4, so I can start with 4, and it's less than 8, so I can go 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I'll stop at 7 because remember, it's less than the 8. And you're done. Okay, so we've got this question here. It says the area of the rectangle is 10 times bigger than the triangle. What is x? So step 1, we need to find out the area of the triangle. So remember, the area of the triangle is base times height divided by 2. The base, we've got 3 times by 4 divided by 2. 3 times 4 is 12 divided by 2 is 6 centimeters squared. The area of the rectangle is 10 times bigger. So if I want that to be 10 times bigger, so that's going to be 6 times 10. So the rectangle area equals 6 times 10. That's going to be 60 centimeters squared. So if I want to get to 12 times something to give me 60 centimeters squared, I can quite simply just do 60 divided by 12, and 60 divided by 12 will give you 5 centimeters for x. Okay, so pause the video and give your question a go. Okay, so your question, the diagram shows a right angled triangle and a parallelogram. The area of the parallelogram is 4 times the area of the triangle. The perpendicular height of the parallelogram is h. Find the value of h. So step 1, we're going to find the area of the triangle by doing base times height divided by 2. The base is 4 times the height, which is 7. 4 times 7 is 28. Divided by 2 is 14 centimeters squared. So we've got 14 centimeters squared for the triangle. So we know that the parallelogram is 4 times the area of the triangle, so we're going to do 14 times by 4. 14 doubled is going to be 28, and 28 doubled again, which will give us 4 times, will give us 56. So we got 14 times h for the parallelogram equals 56, because remember the parallelogram is just going to be base times height to give you the area, which we know is 56 centimeters squared. We know the base is 14 times the h equals 56 centimeters squared, and this is quite simple because we've got 14 here. We're going to take the 14 over and divide by 14 to leave us with the height, which is just quite simply 4. Okay, line 1 we have y equals 2x minus 5, and line 2 we've got 3y minus 6x equals 2. Explain why these are parallel. So remember, for a graph line to be parallel, you have the same gradient. And the gradient is the value before the x. So in this line 1, we have got 2x, so the gradient equals 2. So we want to show that line 2 also has 2x. So we're going to have to do a bit of rearranging and simplifying so that the gradient, the number before the x, is the same on the second line. So we've got 3y minus 6x equals 2. We're going to take this minus 6 over to the other side, and when we take it to the other side, remember we do the inverse, so it'll become a plus 6. So that's going to be 6x plus 2, and then we've got 3y. To get the y by itself, we're going to divide the whole thing by 3. So 3y divided by 3 is just y. 6x divided by 3 is now 2x. And 2 divided by 3 will give us an intercept, which is just 2 over 3. But now we can show that this and the first line are both parallel now because they have the same gradient, and you're done. Okay, pause the video and have a go at your question. Okay, so your question, you've got line 1, y equals 2x plus 7. And the gradient for your question, again, is 2. Remember, we're just looking in front of the x, so your gradient equals 2. And we have to rearrange line 2 so that it's parallel and it has the same gradient. So we want that to have 2 before the x as well. So you got 2y minus 4x equals 6. We're going to take this minus 4 over and do the inverse. So that will become a plus 4x. So now you've got 4x plus 6. And on the left hand side, you've just got 2y. We're going to divide the whole thing by 2. So 2y divided by 2 is y. 4 divided by 2 is 2 with the x. And 6 divided by 2 will give you 3. So now you can see that this is also a gradient of 2 and they're both parallel. So now you're done.